Hey, Mortgage Coach community, Dave Savage here, and today I have the one, the only, Mr. Tom Ferry. What's up, my brother?
Dude, Tom Ferry in the house, baby, in the house. Dave, thanks so much for having me, my friend.
Hey, it's good to have you, man. You always bring so much energy to our community and great ideas.
Yes.
So I want to center today's conversation around your new book. You've got a new book, Mindset, Model, and Marketing. And by the way, I love, you're great with headlines, the proven strategies to transform and grow your real estate business. The only caveat I'd like to add to that is if you're on this, you're a mortgage professional probably.
Of course.
So think about it, grow your lending practice.
Same exact thing. Listen, business is business. We all need to attract clients, convert, right? Ultimately close transactions and service our customers so we have longer lifetime value. So all the same principles apply. Just take the word listing out and put loan in.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, let's start with this because this year is different. And I would love to know from your perspective, what's different about 2018 versus 17 and 16, and what do both loan officers and realtors need to know?
You know, the first thing I would tell everybody is, talking to Dave, a bunch of the CEOs that I work with, and last week being at Real Trends, which is where all of the great real estate brokerages show up for a couple of days to brainstorm an idea share. Every single one of them on average was up 8%. Last year, they were up 12 or 13%. The year before, they were up 12 or 13%. So the reality is, from a real estate standpoint, people are making more money right now than they've ever made. Now, you and I both know because of regulations, the mortgage space is different. The amount of transactions, the addressable market has become, potentially smaller from the buy side. But the reality is, right now is an excellent time to be inside of both the businesses. On the agent front, they're all saying the same thing. Whoever gets the listing wins. So the thing that I'm advising all my loan officer friends, all my insurance friends, is the same thing. If part of your business is predicated on, having agents be successful in that partnership, the game is no longer buyers. Search, that game is over. Zillow owns it, Trulia owns it, Redfin owns it, Realtor.com owns it. The game is in home shopping and transactions like the conversion. But back to these guys, because I know the men and women that you attract, they need to be squarely focused on, how do I help my agents get more listings? Because a listing in today's environment is usually followed by 2 or 3 additional transactions. That's the game today.
So when you say 2 or 3 transactions, I think I know what you mean, but give me an example. What are those 2 to 3 more transactions?
So it's really simple, right? So the listing that I take, I just hung up with one of my clients in Venice, California. So she takes a listing in Venice for $2 million. If it's priced correctly, right? And by the way, that means it could be 6 to 7% overpriced, and that's okay. Priced correctly, she's gonna have multiple offers. So she's gonna have one really happy buyer. Because she follows our mega open house strategy, she's going to generate 6 or 7 other potential listing opportunities from that open house. She's going to generate a plethora of buyer opportunities from that, and her and her lender are going to work together to convert them. So one listing today in the right environment, marketed properly, can easily equal 2 or 3 additional transactions from the leads that come in from that listing.
Love it. And I thought that's where you're going with it. Mm-hmm. So it is smart in today's market for lenders to help with open houses, to have an open house strategy where they're getting those buyers. Because let's face it, while the listing has value to a loan officer, the buyer is where today's transaction's at.
Of course. Always. But again, one begets the other, right? So look at Zillow and Trulia and Realtor and Redfin. They're all predicated on buy-side transactions because they're showcasing all the listings. So it's the same exact concept. Every lender that's paying attention should be saying to themselves, who are my best listing agents? How can I help them operationalize better marketing to create more repeatable and scalable listing attraction? Because as they do that with your support, you get all the buy side, right? Everybody wins in that game, but it's helping them. Dave, you know what's great? My experience of your clients, the people I met at Todd Duncan's events, the coaching clients that we have that are in the mortgage space, they look at this more like a business and they run it more like a business. The average rock star real estate professional is a little more artsy, if you will. They're way more likely to be unorganized. So when a really smart loan professional says, I'm going to go help them operationalize, they understand what I mean by that. And then repeatable and scalable to get more listings. When they do that, not only do they change the trajectory of that agent's business forever, right? And earn their trust and earn their loyalty for transactions forever, right? But they're going to make a fortune in the process. So to me, that's the game right now.
So mortgage coach community, I hope you heard that. And again, just reaffirms what we've talked about. Whether it was my interview with Danny Harani, and he talks about how I help drive conversion. I'm an extension of your sales process.
Yes.
You can be a first-time home buyer, and I create clarity and urgency like no tomorrow.
Bingo.
If you've got a buyer that wants to make an offer on a house, I'm going to create clarity and urgency so that, with the total cost analysis, so that they're going to pay the price they need to. So give us some ideas, other ideas on how a loan officer could show up and add value from a listing perspective. Because we talk all the time about buyers, open houses, but any other ideas come to mind where a lender can add more value to that?
So the first thing I would say is, to really identify where you can bring value in the top 5 listing attraction campaigns that are working right now. So if you're taking notes, number 1 is their database, right? So how can you bring value to the agent's database with their marketing consistently, right? To understand the value of their home, should they move, should they not move, etc. The second one, of course, we know is
time out, guys. So everybody, that is rent versus own, and that is move up analysis. If you can create a move up analysis saying that, hey, look, you need to move up now, clarity and confidence, huge idea. I'm going to put a link down below to an idea. So go with number 2.
Okay, but I want to reiterate, Dave, you guys have these tools in place. So loan officers should be going to their agents and saying, I'm going to help you create an individual move up analysis for every person in your database that's owned their home for more than 5 years. And you do that, you're going to help them generate a ton of listing opportunity. So just as an idea. Number 2 is geographic farming, right? So right now, with our 7,200 coaching clients on the residential real estate side, I don't care if you're in Sydney, Australia, or you're in, Schenectady, New York, or you're right here in Newport Beach, California. Those that have geographic farms are absolutely dominating the listing front. It's the hyper local expert that Google talks about and that every consumer wants. So how can a loan officer help them become more efficient with their direct mail, with their Facebook ads, with their open house strategy, with their door knocking if they choose to do that? That's the game changer. If they just do that, they're going to win. Number 3, you got any points on that one, Dave?
I do. And that just reminded me when I interviewed Nicole Solari, and I don't know if you've ever interviewed her. If you haven't, you should. 4 years of the business, 198 sales last year, and open houses was her number 1 strategy. And her number 1 ask for loan officers is to come do some door knocking with me. When I do that open house, let's hit the houses on this side, let's hit the houses on that side.
Bingo.
So if you are a new loan officer in this business right now, you can kill it. Because by the way, how many loan officers are gonna actually do that? Actually do the open house right. So I'm gonna put a link down below to that Nicole Solari interview. And especially all you new loan officers, there's just no excuse not to be executing on this. Number 3.
I agree. So number 3 is open houses, but we call them specifically, Dave, mega open houses. So different from an open house where you put up 2 or 3 signs and you hope and pray to the real estate god that somebody shows up. A mega open house, I'm going to put out, dependent upon the city I'm in, I know there's different rules, but our goal is 30 to 50 signs, kind of like the old REO days when we put up the ugly yellow signs, foreclosure. Same concept, as many signs as possible by the agent. We're going to cater the event, right? So there's going to be food, there's going to be drink. Again, know your sales price, right? Know the customer you're looking to attract. So if it's in New York City, it might be wine and cheese on a Thursday. If you're in St. Louis, it could just be, sandwiches and chips. I don't care, your market, but food will drive it, just like broker preview. Number 3, right? We're going to make sure that when we show up, myself, my loan officer, my team are staffed and ready to go to get as many people as possible, cell phone, email, etc. There may be a drawing, there may be, give away an iPad, whatever you want to do. We want to create as much hype as possible from a structure standpoint, and then we've got to market it like crazy. You got to knock on 60, 70, 80 doors around the property. You want to be running Facebook ads. You're going to email your entire database. You're going to email every one of your buyers that are in the marketplace in your CRM saying, join us at this thing. The goal, Dave, is to get 100 to 200 people to show up. The number, like the largest mega open house documented amongst our clients now is over 500 people showed up to the guy's open house. And look, he had his lender there, he had his escrow officer there, he had 2 title reps there, he had home inspection, termite, and his 3 people, and they still couldn't get through everyone that showed up, right? So when you do this, it's like a vacuum. It sucks every buyer out of the market, which is exactly what your loan officers want. At the same time, every one of the neighbors that gets invited walks in and says, is this really going to sell for $375? Which gives the agent and the loan officer who's paying attention the opportunity to say, gosh, we don't know the actual price yet, but we have a lot of interested parties. I'm curious if this property sells and sells fast and there's more buyers than there are inventory. Have you guys had any thoughts of selling? And if every loan officer was asking that question, by the way, have you had any thoughts of selling and teeing up their agents? They're going to win. Number 4, no surprises, agent-to-agent referrals. Agent-to-agent referrals right now, Dave. So where are the listings coming from? It's agents referring, across the country, across the state, and even some old school smart agents that are saying, I'm in La Jolla and I don't work Chula Vista. So they're referring somebody down there versus making that march to go take that listing. That's the number 4 driver of listings. So as a loan officer, I'd be asking myself, how can I help them get into a mastermind group? Right? How can I help them create more awareness as to where do people move from and where are they moving to from the city that I'm in? I think it's census.org, right? That'll show you the movement patterns all over the US. So if I knew that information as a loan officer, I could then say, hey man, we're in New York City. All the opportunities are in the Hamptons for you. How do we network with those agents? And you and I do it together, bringing them value, creating your brand. And then the last one, number 5, is obviously the conversion of the onslaught of online leads that need to sell their house before they buy the next one. So those are the top 5. And I'd go back to the same thing, which is how can you as a loan officer help them operationalize all of their marketing efforts? Because all the money is in the consistency of their marketing. Do that and you solve their big problems.
I love this. You nailed so much of what we talked about. One of the things we talked about a lot, because let's face it, Amazon's coming into mortgage, Zillow's coming, tech companies that do mortgages they're here. And so mortgage professionals, everything Tom just said, he talked about annual reviews, your database. Your number 1 priority is creating clients for life and executing systems for doing that. And by the way, lenders, if you're doing that, you have the systems and the structure that Tom just talked about to drive the best conversion, so that Wally Elderberry, I'm going to put a link down below to Wally's interview where he's got agents that trust him and his team to be their conversion engine. So everything you're talking about is on. Hey, I had one question that came up. We're seeing a huge trend, and Nicole Solari talked about it, paperless open houses. That is the way to get the most leads at the open houses. Are you seeing the same thing in your community?
We've been talking about it for years. So there's a number of apps that are out there. Is there one in particular that you guys like? Because I don't have any attachment to any of them.
No, either. I would love for you to rip them. I mean, we are, the way to present mortgage options, but just list some of the best to capture leads at open houses.
Look, you either have a home valuation page, right? Sitting up on a laptop. That's always a good idea. So, Geographic Farm sells those, Bold Lead sells those, Curator sells those, all that stuff is great. I really love Open Home Pro, right? Been around for a while now, right? Yeah, started out of San Francisco. The guy was a techie. His girlfriend is selling homes and he's watching her do an open house. He's like, this is stupid. You're asking him to write on a yellow notepad. Like, we're in San Francisco. What are you doing? And he built this cool little piece of tech. They've got, tens of thousands of users now. So that's probably the one when I survey our clientele, that's the one that always stands out at the top, Open Home Pro.
Okay, so Mortgage Coach members, couple things. If you have more questions for Tom, let us know down below. If you got value from this, like it. I would love to know how many leads are you getting at open houses. So put a thread down below. How many people are showing up? How many leads? Tom, I know I'm going to want to get you back to really drill down on that mega open house, or maybe you can refer me to someone that can help us really do a playbook on that. So one last question. Your book is awesome. You know, I haven't read the whole thing because it just came out, but I think it's a must read for every mortgage professional.
Yep.
Give us some cliff notes if a loan officer was to use that book to add value to a realtor. One, why should they? And two, what do you think are the nuggets in there that might make the most value so that when they're handing it off, buying it, giving it as a gift, give them a cliff note. How would you like lenders to introduce that to realtors?
Sure. So first of all, thank you. And I'm gonna give you the scoop here. Ready? This book was a mashup of the top 50 Tom Ferry shows that are for free on YouTube. So I'm going to tell you first and foremost, don't buy my book. Instead, go to my YouTube channel, go through the list of nearly 1,000 videos. Just search the subject matters that are important to you. And what I would ask you to do is think about how could you take some of that content inside there and empower the agents that you're working with. You know, we're on our way to about 10 million views on that specific channel. That's not a lot, right, in terms of YouTube, but in our space, we dominate it, right? So we put out a ton of content all for free. I would look at how you can use that, including Dave, the open house, the mega open house, all of our marketing strategies, all of our systems, our planning tools, everything is there and available, top agent interviews and more. If you're looking, you know, if you want a physical gift to give them, you can call my office, right? And you can find out about how we can, you know, get you a bunch of those books. My advice would just be, look, this is what I do all the time. I don't know if you can see it, but over here on my desk, Dave, when I buy a book that I like, I buy 8, 10, 15 copies and I give them out as gifts to all of my best clients, right? That's just the way I roll. Now, it's one thing to send a book, right? And say, hey, I was thinking about you, Dave, check out this book. Instead, what I like to do is I like to go inside the book and I like to highlight, like, here's the doing and done board, right? Like, you know, how do we get more projects done? And I'm going to dog ear it. I'm going to put my card inside there and I'm going to say, Dave, one of the things I know about you is you're constantly looking for ways to complete more projects and get more things done. Consider this as an idea. When I read this, I was thinking about you. So instead of just sending a book, I took the time to go through it, highlight something I thought would be significant to them, dog ear it, put a little note there, then I send it. And by the way, it should be deep inside the book, right? So they're like, wow, this guy really took the time to read this and he thought about me, right? That makes it special. That makes it more unique, or as Seth Godin would call it, it's like me mail versus email. So if you're gonna do something like that, customize it, make it personal, then follow up on it. And then in fairness, I'm just gonna tell you, it's all for free on YouTube also.
So by the way, that was a huge takeaway for the community because you're so right. And whether it's your book, any book, when you're able to hand a book to someone and it's got context, it's like, I know you, I highlighted this for you. Yep. I hope this is valuable. That's the way you give this book. That's the way you give any book. Guys, I hope you got a lot of value from this conversation from Tom and I. If you have anything else you'd like us to talk about, let us know down below in comments. Like us, share us with all your mortgage friends. And Tom, super grateful for you, brother. Thank you for coming into the community and bringing so much value.
Appreciate it, guys. God bless you all.
Take care, everybody.